show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices, I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, the wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters, and Happy New Year to anybody who hasn't watched the show yet. Hope everybody is fit and well, and it's welcome back to the Fans Forum. Darren, George, Kevin, Alan, Tom, Pablo, Magnus and Ian joining us. Ian's back off his sick bed, Barry's back on his sick bed, so the bugs and chest infections are still doing the rounds, but Barry is in the chat to keep everybody entertained. And great result is where we start. If we can start with you, Darren, and another assist for your top player, Darren Murphy, and another goal for Alexander Isak, 7-7 up there now with Shearer and Willock. And another good away performance and 3 points.
Well, I'm starting to think now I'm making him a better player because he's listening to us. So I'm giving myself credit. With me nagging him, he's noticed I'm nagging him, so he's playing better. So may continue. So I'll give yourself credit for making him a better player. It's like manager style, you know what I mean? So that's the
tough love, Darren. Tough love.
I know, tough love to hear Steve, but you've got to be ruthless in this job. It's hard to do, but I've got to do it. So, but on the positive side, another great win. About 5 games ago, people were saying sack Eddie Howe. Where's them people now? Well, do you know what I mean? What a great job he's done. He's turned the club into to beat Tottenham and Man U in 5 days apart. Great results. Tottenham, the first 10 minutes, first took 5 minutes when they scored one. At the races, Botman was like, you tell he's just come back. He got caught ball watching a little bit, and a good header by them. And our first goal, it was never a handball. I'm certainly, your hands are down. It's just desperation on Tottenham behalf, trying to see it's a handball. I've never heard so much nonsense in my entire talk sport, and people say it's a handball. It's not a handball. What do you meant to do? The player hits it off his hand. Do you know what I mean? So it baffles me. It's a handball. It's not. But then, again, Gordon scores a good goal. He should have had a second one to make it 2-1, and then my mate he kind of scuffed across a bit, but he got it across to Isak and a little toe port tapping. We should have had a penalty, mind you, in the box. How's the referee not give a penalty on Anthony Gordon? It baffles me. Anywhere on the pitch, that's a free kick. I can't believe Vaughan never looked at it, but they didn't put the penalty all day long, that. So, yes, another great win. I'm happy. We've got a hot game tomorrow, but we'll talk about it later. But we're doing good, Steve. I say Eddie Howe's tournament, we've got Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton are a solid force at midfield. he's changed, and he tell you that he's changed. He's put Trelawney in the centre, and it works. So you got to give him. That's just like, I know, like a lot of people saying Eddie Houghton. I know who they are. Are these fans who are going to get after that? But no, you got to give Eddie Houghton credit. I listen to his press conference today as well. And how he talks to his press conference, you can listen to him all day. So that's it for me, Steve. I don't get baffled too much.
Alan McKenzie mentions that the England manager was, of course, at the game. He says Thomas Tuchel left after Murphy was subbed, Darren. Potential England call-up for Murphy?
Oh, Steve, I know England's rubbish, but we're not desperate, are we?
That's it. That's tough love again. Tough love again. When he gets called up for England, it'll all be down to Darren. George,
I'm taking the credit, Steve. I am taking the credit. Maybe he comes from where he scores a goal. I'm taking all credit for it.
Brilliant. George, give us your views on the match at the weekend.
Well, just somebody before the show started talked about what was said a few weeks ago, all wondering how many points we'd get and would we get any, who would we beat, or would we collapse or whatever. But the one thing consistently I've said, and I think most of you lads have, is that if the right Newcastle turns up, we can beat anybody. There's no question about that. And that this run's just confirmed that for me. And the other thing is we're now got to not just got the team playing. Eddie's not just got the team playing well. He's got the team playing together. And the recipe for the midfield of getting Tonali into it properly and supporting Bruno and Joe Linton is just amazing. I mean, the whole of the Premiership's talking about it being the best midfield in the Premiership now. And that's about right. The other thing is that to see Botman back was great as well. I mean, we talked about it on the Amigos and Fred, who I was the only one, I think, that really thought he would be in. And he was. And yes, first 10 minutes, he was finding his feet, I think. But after that, he was supreme. But it was, most of all, it was a team performance. Everybody's looking for this and that and the other. But it was a team performance. And for me, and sorry to harp on about Murphy, it isn't just the crosses and all the rest of it. He does so much other work that people don't see. For example, when the fullback goes forward, the fullback knows fine well that Murphy's going to be in behind him, supporting him if things go wrong. And that's exactly what he does. He does what Eddie Howe tells him, and that's why Eddie Howe puts him in the team. It's as simple as that for me. But that doesn't play down the fact that his contribution in terms of assists is now becoming one of the best in the Premiership. And that's got to be taken notice of by everybody, I've got to say. And the other one is I've never heard so much whinging. I thought Arteta was bad, but this Australian's probably worse because he just goes over the top and he gets out of it being bad by telling them how good they are. And on another day when if it had been a flat playing field, we would have been that match. All my lads were great. Sod off. We played you off the park at times. I mean, it's a nice tactic, but it doesn't work, I'm afraid. And yes, he's got injuries. Well, welcome to the club. Where were we this time last year? Nobody was giving us any sympathy at all. We were still getting kicked to death by any pundit that fancied it. They weren't sitting up and saying, well, look at the injuries they've got. No, we had to take it all, and we've took it all. Man of the match is so difficult as they all played, but I'm going to pick two, not one. Our two young fullbacks at the moment
on, George.
Are absolutely incredible because they're now so comfortable, and Hall particularly. He's not just getting the ball and laying it off to anybody. He's getting the ball and he's looking for where to put it. He's hitting it first time sometimes when he gets it into a nice pass and all of that sort of thing. But they both were really spot on Saturday, I thought. And there was never any chance of anything going down the wings from Spurs or anybody. And I'll be amazed if when the first Tuchel squad's called up, that those two aren't fullbacks in that squad, because they were absolutely outstanding. And long may it continue. Midfield talks for itself. Tonali having that extra yard of pace is unquestionably making a huge difference, because he has the pace to get up and down very quickly to support the others. And Joelinton, well, when Joelinton's on form, he's just a beast, you know, and you can see the opposition players don't welcome a challenge off Joelinton, and that's smashing. That's great. And then up front, well, take your pick, you know. And I agree with Darren. There's another shoulder charge on Gordon, like the one Van Dijk did for Liverpool, where it would have been a foul in the bloody wrestling ring, never mind on a football pitch. And yet it didn't get anything. It was a sending off. You know, it wasn't just a penalty, it was a sending off. And he didn't
Same ref, right? It was the same ref.
Same ref that blew the whistle at the Liverpool game just before Isak was going to put it in the net to make it 4-3 as well. So, you know, it's just a mess, and we certainly need a look at officials in this country, because we're not getting a fair shake at the moment. Nobody is, not just Newcastle, but nobody is. So fantastic. So from 5 weeks ago, sitting here wondering how many points we'll get, well, now we've got them all. I mean, it can't be better than that, can it? Yeah. And now we look forward to the Carabao Cup run-in and all that goes with that. And long may it continue. It's really happy time. And as you can imagine, lads, you know, after 70-odd years of supporting, to get back to a position like this is absolutely great for me. I mean, I'm enjoying every moment. You know, I believe it or not, and you probably will believe it, every now and again, as I pass the rattle, I give it a twist just to keep me pecker up and warm it up for Wembley. So fantastic, Steve. Could go on all night, as you can gather.
Great stuff. Kev, what about you, mate?
We all asked the question, what's Eddie Howe going to do? And he's answered them questions and getting performances out of players and go on a run. And look what's happened. And we were all questioning, not saying he will get him out, whatever. We posed to him, well, fix the problems, fix what needed to be fixed, put players where we thought, what he thought, whatever. And he's done that. And look what's happened. But the performance as a whole, we can go back to the Man United game and now into the Tottenham game, where I want a bit of a shout out to James Bunce, in my opinion, just looking at it from the other side of it. I think he's had a big influence on how the team's played. Not tactically, not anything like that. I think it's more on a performance output. Because if you look at games, we haven't even hit second, third level yet in terms of energy outputs and work. Yes, we work hard. It's psychologically difficult to sit in low blocks and things like that and play on the counter-attack. And I think they've done that very well in tandem to sort of say, okay, well, we're playing Man United, we're winning 2-0 away from home. How can we really use energy sources, knowing what we've got coming down the road? And you're seeing the fruits of that. And it's been very pragmatic. It's been very clever how they've done it. We're playing some good football along the way, not just, you know, the running around bit. But I think this James Bunce with the high performance stuff is now coming to bear fruit, and that's only beneficial for us because, again, like I said, we could have went into like against Man United, we could have went into another gear. But then there's a consciousness of, can we just sit in and conserve energy and just play the game out and make it difficult and make it awkward? Because we know we've got Tottenham. Tottenham is going to be like a basketball game. It's going to be end-to-end. There's going to be a lot of energy being expunged there. So I think there's a lot of that side that hasn't been spoken about, which has to be given a lot of credit to. I think the way, I was watching it, it had my 7 by myself, to be honest, but within my own mind and saying to myself, well, Tottenham are overloading it with pretty much 7 midfielders in there and leaving 2 up, and we were playing on the counter-attack, and we dealt with that really well. Yes, it wasn't a I don't know, swashbuckling type of football. It wasn't this and that, but we got down the sides, and I said to myself, if we keep getting down the sides with Murphy and Gordon, we'll be successful. And that's how we got goals, and that's how we scored. That's how we got goals against Man United. So I think they've been very clever in how Eddie Howe and the staff have looked at it and sort of said, okay, if you're going to overload the midfield, we'll just get round the outsides of you and put crosses in. And they weren't able to deal with that. The handball's a handball. It is what it is. Look, it hits his hand. Everybody sees that. But look, I'll look at it again from the other side of it. If it was me as a Tottenham fan to say, well, why did my team react better to that defensively? I'm sure you had enough players around that ball, 3 or 4 of you, to get close to the ball to stop that attack occurring. Even if it was a handball, it doesn't matter. Your team has to react to what's going on in the game. Yeah, you'd be pissed off. Yeah, you'd be agitated. Of course you would. But why? I'll be looking at it from my defensive players who were then in and around it to react after the fact instead of go moaning and complaining. React. But we didn't. We reacted in the positive say, played to the whistle, as the old saying goes, play to the whistle, play it in, and then we'll score and we'll see what happens. But they didn't. They just stopped. That's on them. That's on them, not us. So it's not our fault it hit Joe Litton's hand. It's just the nature of the game when we responded with a positive front foot attitude to go and score a goal. And I mean, Isaac, we could have 3 or 4 in that first half. It was just Isaac poor finishing. I thought he should have left it for Gordon at the back post. Gordon was about to kick the goal post down because he was standing there by himself with a tap in. Isaac obviously is in a rich vein of form. And he wants
that's a striker issue, that though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not complaining about. At least he's there. At least he's. But again, it's just certain nuance.
He's leave at the back, but if you're a striker and you want to score a goal,
oh, absolutely. Again, but you can see if he let it go, but the keeper could have got.
You couldn't see him. You couldn't see him.
I totally agree. But at the same time, if he's going to be in there, and he's got to get a better contact, and it's got to be.
I agree with you, but if you're right. If your ball comes in, your natural instinct is to get the ball and score a goal.
If he's 4 yards out, he's got to score.
Yeah, I agree. He should score.
So anyway,
Sorry, he should have your head up as well.
Pardon, what was that, George?
I say he should have his head up as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and you got to, and again, we got down the sides of them, and like I said, it was not back. I wouldn't call it backs to the wall. Second half, to be perfectly honest, they had a lot of the ball. It was quite comfortable. It was like Man United. It was like a training game. Come and break us down. Yes, they brought the Madisons on in the world. Yes, Sons, all the rest of it, great, fantastic. But it didn't really hurt us. It didn't punish us. But hey, look. We went at 6 games now. Go to Arsenal tomorrow night. Let's make it the lucky 7. Let's go again on another 4-game run in the Premier League.
Yeah,
why not? We can go on a 12-15 game run here and really challenge these big boys to get into this Champions League, because I think it's really attainable at this point, the way we're playing and the overall mentality of the team.
Okay, thanks for that, Kev. Allen, thoughts on the game of the weekend?
Just fantastic, lads. If anybody had said that the last 3 games, Villa, Man United and Spurs would get 9 points, I would be over the moon, and we have. It's been absolutely fantastic. George stole me thunder with the 2 fullbacks. I thought, watching the game, I'm thinking these 2 young lads could be here for 10 years. And I'm thinking, great. They could be here for a long, long time. Livermore was outstanding. And I thought it was great to see the big man back, Botman. Yes, he was caught, but that was the same as, like Isaac scored a goal against Arsenal, exactly the same. It was a tremendous cross, tremendous goal if you're a Spurs fan. And I'm not denying them that goal. It was a tremendous goal. I'm not going to be hypocritical, this player should have shut that one down. It was a tremendous cross, and the player got on the other side of him. He's an England international, for heaven's sake. The handball incident, it wasn't a handball, like Darren and everybody knows. The amount of tears of the Spurs podcast after the game saying it's the worst refereeing decision I've ever seen in my life. this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking there was, you know, if you think that's a handball, then Tino in the PSG Champions League game, you've obviously agreed that was a handball as well. You know, what we had against PSG, and it wasn't, and everybody around the country was saying it wasn't a handball. So why was that? I'd go again, another example. What if, lads, what if that handball, or ball to hand, it went to a Tottenham player and he'd kicked it up front and Solanke had scored the goal? Would they wanted to come back for a free kick? No, they wouldn't have. It's nonsensical. It's a non-story. The rules are plain as day. And like was said in the private chat to George, if that handball had went in the goal like Bruno's did against Aston Villa, then it would have been disallowed because it was a direct goal. But it didn't lead to direct play. And the Spurs fans, their tears is immense. Like I said in the private chat, the Thames is 2 foot high in the day with all the tears they've had. It's incredible, the meltdown they've had. Ange, a year ago, I go along with every official going, the referees have got a hard job, and yet he's berating them with insinuendos that, on, you know, a level playing field we would have won the game. I'm sorry, it's called goals make you winning the game.
I think his time's up, me, Ange.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to us, Steve, Darren, I thought the two fullbacks were immense. Botman he grew into the game. Yes, he made mistakes, and he'll make mistakes in the future. As regards Livermenko, George, I don't know. I've got a funny feeling tomorrow night, getting onto the game tomorrow night, Trippier will play for the experience. I've just got this feeling. How we'll put him in, but we'll talk about that later. Everything's fantastic.
Isn't it good to have that option, though, Alan?
Yes, George. Yes, I think the midfield and lads, I would put it to use after the chat tonight, and the people in the chat. How good is Isaac? I said a few weeks ago, tongue in cheek, that he wouldn't make me top 10 striker. He must be in the top 5 I've ever seen now, and getting close to breaking into that top 5 I've ever seen. If he stays a long time, he'll be matching Shearer for me because he's got it all. I think Gordon's playing great, Murphy's playing great, but I agree with Darren. If somebody put 25 million on the table, I'd drive Murphy out the door. But that's beside the point. We need better players.
We're getting McDonald's on the way, like.
Yeah, but that's it, Darren. You know, but at the end of the day, lads, we need two. Getting them on the transfer window, we need 2 quality players, lads, 2 or 3 if we can. I know it's going to be difficult. I don't see it unless we sell players, lads. I mean, the rumour is Dubravna might go after the game. That's the rumour. Well, so be it. I know he's played well, but he's 35, lads. There's no time for sentimentality now. We need to get rid of players to move on to the next stage. And there'll be players we all love. You know, maybe like Harvey Barnes, maybe it's Willock. These fringe Longstaff, they'll all have to be in consideration for PSR rules going forward. I just leave it. I know I'm going off on a tangent with the game, but it's absolutely fantastic, the run we're on. Next 4 fixtures, Steve, break them down like Kevin said. Everybody, but that look easy on paper. Look at Man United against Liverpool yesterday. They put out a performance. Nobody expected that. And this is Bournemouth team. I hate to say it, lads. They're one of the most impressive teams I've seen this season, Bournemouth, to be honest with you. Yeah. So we've got Wolves who are fighting for their lives, Bournemouth, Southampton. Yes, you could say that would be the one that you could bank on. Fulham are playing good stuff. So there's the good old cliches. There's no easy games. Go into it as if it is a top team and keep the run going. I'll leave it at that, Steve. I'm waffling now.
Great stuff, Alan. Good to hear your opinion, as it is all the lads. Magnus had a sound check before he came on. Then he dipped out. So it's a 50-50 gamble list. Magnus, give us your views on the match of the weekend.
Well, hello, everybody. I hope you hear me loud and clear. Maybe not too loud.
Very good, that Magnus. Very good.
Well, with regards to the game, you know, for me, the start was, very worrying when we saw Tino Livramento lying in the ground. But you know, luckily that wasn't anything serious. You know, I just got the feeling straight away here we go again. Is it the revolving door? But it isn't. So that's the great news. I mean, Thomas Tuchel being in the stands. I think all of our English players were outstanding. Especially the fullbacks. I know we've already spoke about that. So I'm just going to give a credit to Gordon. He scored one. He took a battering. He seems to be a little bit unlucky sometimes with bike rides and and being smashed in the area without getting a penalty. He seems to be a little bit of a late lucky. A little bit like Donald Duck. If there's a manhole, he'll walk through it. Anyway. With regards to the game, he could have scored another goal, and there was a 56th minute after Tonali's shot. I am enjoying the football very much because this was an away game. We had a lot of talks about the opponents not being fantastic, and now we've had two huge teams in a row. And we are showing them no mercy. And this being away fixture in London, which we haven't got the best record, I think this was a great game management. I know everybody is a little bit tired after the holidays, and I don't blame them for it. I mean, this has been a heavy workload on all of them. Second half, can I call it S-housery? We held back a little bit. We are preserving energy, and we're playing the game management game. If somebody falls to the ground, take a moment to pull up your socks. We are leading, we are away. This is difficult. Catch a breather. It's okay with me. It doesn't bother me. And a bit of tiki-taka football also when the chance comes along, because if we've got the ball, they haven't got the ball, and then there's no threat, I think this was a perfect performance, away performance after a hard holiday section. We got 6 games in a row, so let it go, Sunderland fans. We won 6 in a row, I just the only other thing I wanted to say was Dubravka, 6 in a row. He's if this is the last dance for him, what a last dance it is. I understand things are complicated, and we have 5 goalkeepers on our hands. I wanted to stay, don't get me wrong, but I was one of the voices that was calling for the younger lad, the Greek lad. So I've got to be consistent with that. If the offer comes along, then I think we have a good potentially second keeper on our books. With regards to what Alan was saying, I've been saying it all day to some fans, just get to know the rules. If you don't know the rules, it's outside the area, I don't make them, but and I actually thought, because it was a little bit of a beneficial action, it was kind of a third pass, wasn't it? But it was outside the area. You can't cut your hands off. It's totally legal. Any expert that has spoke on the matter will say the same thing. So people just got to know the rules if they disagree. With regards to Angie, I want to just say that this is starting to remind me of Mourinho when he wants to be sacked. Why wouldn't you look somebody in the face while they're talking to you? I just don't get it. You need to look at the cameras. You need to stand up for your team. You need to defend them. I know he didn't want to say the word referee, but he was just totally blaming everything, absolutely everything, on the referee. They didn't even play bad. I agree with him on that. They had an all right game, but we were just that little bit better. So I am over the moon, absolutely delighted with the way things are going, and I'm pretty optimistic for tomorrow night.
Good stuff, Magnus. Thank you. Ian, what's your feelings and thoughts on the match at the weekend? We've had a great festive period. In fact, I'm struggling to think of a festive period that we've had in recent times like that. 6 wins.
Yeah, no, I can't remember one myself. It's been excellent. So feelings are everything that's everyone else has echoed, really. Sort of everybody's covered most of the points. I think the point that I wanted, or a few points I wanted to sort of re-emphasise, the refereeing, how Ange can complain about the refereeing. He obviously was watching a different match to me. They didn't get a yellow card until basically what should have been the last minute of the game. It ended up being the third to last minute of the game because the ref was trying to keep them going as long as he possibly could to just see if they could get another goal. But it wasn't happening. They wouldn't have scored if they just kept playing all day. They had Solanke's assault on Dubravka. That was for me. He did him there on purpose. He went in. There's no way he should have been that high. No way at all. He should have gone in with his head. It just shows a complete lack of testicles on the bloke to do that. And the one on Gordon, I don't know whether I think he did him, but he did enough damage for it to warrant dangerous play. Even if you're saying it wasn't like intentionally trying to go out to do him. So just those 2 incidents alone should have been yellows, if not reds. Probably reds could have been easily argued for the one on Dubravka. It just seems like I agree. Seems like he's trying to just deflect everything away from the fact that it's his tactics that are basically losing them football games. For me, we outplayed him in the first half. In my opinion, we had more of the ball. We had the better chances in the whole game, I thought. But second half, we were just professional. We just put it to bed. We looked like you could tell we were getting a little bit tired. In my opinion, anyway, it looked like we were slowing down a bit. So the lads just did what they should do, and just kept it tight, kept all the ball as much as they can, and when they had the ball, didn't give them any space to do anything. I thought we played really, really, really well. I can't remember who was saying it, but their fans are like I've been feeling ill. I've had the same thing that everyone's had, this chest infection thing. It was coughing me guts up, but it's been making it even worse watching all the Tottenham fans spitting the dummy out. And it's funny, we've got the double header because we've got the other soft ass people coming up tomorrow. But you couldn't get two sets of fans more limp dick than them, can you? Tottenham and Arsenal in a row. So really, really looking forward to us hopefully getting something there. If we can come away from there with a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw or something, the whole bloody world will implode. It'll be great. So
Arteta out, Ian. Arteta out. It'll be the cry. We get anything down there, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts, Steve. Anyway,
great stuff, mate. Thank you, Pablo.
Just a quick one, lads. Before Kev's shirt above me has just reminded me, I want to tell you a quick story. So this is a big up to the channel and you lads for your educational services to football. My missus is a very simple, self-admitted Newcastle fan because she fancies Jamal Lascelles, as we know. So imagine this. So that shirt that Kevin's got on above, I have purchased one this week from maybe not an official Newcastle store, shall we call it, yeah? And I sent my missus a picture of the shirt, expecting, wow, that's amazing. Do you know the first comeback I got? Well, that's not going to do your club PSR rules any good, is it? And I've looked at it and I've gone, what? So I'm in trouble for not improving our PSR.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What did you make of the game, mate?
Right. Absolute top class in the sense of a workman. I wouldn't call it a vintage performance, but an absolute top workman-like performance in where I think the first goal, no blame to Lane to be put on Sven. I think that happens in any Premier League game. You can be caught unawares in the first few minutes. I think we struggled to retain the ball in places, and that I can only put that down to, like the lads have said, a little bit of tiredness, maybe a little bit of fatigue kicking in both mentally, physically. But as far as us opening Tottenham up, we were opening up like a can of beans down the channels, like Kev said. Do you know what I mean? And when you see him doing that, I don't think there's a better team obviously bar Liverpool when they're on song. When those three lads are firing up front and doing the channels, I don't think there's many that I would put ahead of them. And twinned with our midfield, it gives us a real boost going forward. I think that the handball, it's only contentious because we know the rules are twisted so much year in, year out. And I think there's that many people confused with what a handball is actually these days. We've still got a load of fans and pundits giving it the handball straight away, but I don't think anyone's clear what it actually is. So I think that makes it contentious. But having said that, do you know what I mean? If it had been in the final third and the corner flag, we wouldn't be having these conversations. So it is what it is. If we got away with one, so be it. If we didn't, fair play. I think the Gordon one in the opposite box was clearly a penalty. I mean, I've watched it back several times, and it looks more brutal every time you watch it. And I'm going to say the lad kind of intended to leave a bit on him because he kind of knew what he was doing, but only him knows. I think had we been at our potent best, Isaac would have got another, Gordon would have got another. It would have been more comprehensive. So I think only to come away, it probably looks a little bit closer than what it should have been. But as regards going into tomorrow night's game, I mean, 6 on the bounce, we're flying, the confidence is up. Eddie's interviews, I listened to them before as well, regards tomorrow. I just worry. I don't worry, but I wonder what he's going to do regards to midfield. But that's a story for tomorrow. But yeah, on the whole, mate, absolutely buzzing. And Ange Postecoglou is really now. I've heard that on the phone before, and I keep using it. And every time he comes on, I try and mimic it. I'm like, well, it's not Conor, it's Ange here. Everything's going. Shut up, Ange. You've got no clue, lad. You need to be on the beach in Bondi. Anyway, yeah, that being said, on to tomorrow, lads, and absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you need to be on a beach in budgie smugglers there. I didn't know where you were going. Anyway, very good impersonation. Good stuff. And that's a great name. That'll stick, I'm sure. Tom, I know you said you're having technical issues because, as usual, you're on the road again. There's a song about that. But, go on, mate. That's why you're going to keep your answers quite short. What did you make of that game at the weekend?
Yeah, well, first things first, shout out to Darren. Darren, for the 4th match running, has picked the first person who scored. He gave me the tip on Friday saying Gordon, and I brought home $50 because of Darren. So thank you, Darren, for that tip. And thank you for Tilly for giving that tip to Darren because we know he couldn't have thought about it himself. So a couple things about the match. I believe, everybody on here saw the match and said what they wanted. I thought Botman, I'll talk about him for just a moment, is first of all, when Porro gave that cross that scored their goal, it was a beautiful cross. It was also one of the first times this year I didn't saw Anthony Gordon tracking back. That's the only time I've never seen him track back with that with their wing back. So he didn't, and it cost us. And the rest of the game, he followed Porro much closer. So I think Botman learned a little lesson, but I think Gordon also is a little disappointed that he didn't track back. And you can watch that. It's a little disappointing because both him and Joe Linton ran 90 yards the other way, then had to run the 90 yards back to get in their defensive shape. And a little disappointing on that, but cheers to, credit to Porro. He had a really great game, period. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. And that cross, and he had another one later on in the match. It's just beautiful. Speaking of crosses, Isaac got that goal, but I think Murphy had even a better cross earlier than that Isaac tipped wide. That was just wide open, and Gordon was behind that one too. So they had a couple good goals there. And I think, in fact, I know this. I know the answer. Murphy to Isaac has had 4 goal combinations this year, and that's tops in the league, matching only Palmer and Mudeki at Chelsea. So it's not a fluke. He's doing it, and as George said, he's doing it at the other end.
I'm taking credit for it because I'm criticising him.
Pardon me?
I'm taking the credit because I've been criticising him. He's been playing rubbish.
Yeah. Barry said that last time. Keep criticizing him because he's upped his game. So
I think we should buy his twin brother for the other side.
Oh, yeah, we're not that desperate.
Back to the game. I think I really like Brendan Johnson. I think he's a quality person. I never even saw him in the match. He hardly did anything because of Hall. And on the other side, whether it was Werner, who, or I think he replaced him with Rugelon or something, didn't have a sniff either. So I thought the fullbacks did really, really well, as George said, as other people have said. But I want to shout out to Dan Byrne here. He is actually my man of the match. He won every single header. He
was lucky, mind you. Dan Byrne was lucky not to get sent off.
Yeah, you were calling for that. We have a chat going in the game. You were calling for that on Friday, but I couldn't see taking him off. I just thought that he really, really played well. And then back to Botman. When he gave up that goal, he held his knee for a little bit, and I gasped some. And then a little bit later on in the half, he was towards the sideline. He got tripped up, and he came up holding that knee again. And he ran it off, and I think that got the nervousness out of him because he was able to trust his knee after that. He had twice had that knee tested, and it came through both times, and he got stronger and stronger as the match progressed until he was finally taken off with exhaustion. So I think that's a really, really good sign, not only for him physically, obviously he was ready, but also mentally, because we all suffered injuries. We've all played sports. It's especially a knee injury. You don't trust it until you can trust it. And I think those two incidents helped him to do that. So that's what I wanted to talk about. We could talk about everything, man to man, but Spurs are a good side. They score goals. They score goals at home. We gave up one goal to a very good team on a world-class cross, I think. So the fact that we dug in and held them for the rest of the match, I think says a lot about the character of the team.
Well said. Good stuff. Good stuff, Tom. We'll have a quick ad break. We'll be back after this. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Contact them at their website, skipsandbins.com, or email www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at mrvickies.co.uk. Email them info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges, all excursions included. Find them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. Their website is media-arts.co.uk. And we're also available as a podcast. You can find us on Sports Social, Podcast Network, iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up that likes each video, and click share to share to your social media. Some Newcastle United events coming up. An evening with the entertainers, 24th of January 2025. Box office number is 0191 243 1171. Or website, Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. An evening with Lee Clark takes place on the 31st of January at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets are available on Voucher or from newcastlelegends.com. An afternoon with Celeste Ferdinand takes place on the 6th of April 2025, 12 p.m. till 4 p.m, and that's at the O2 City Hall in Newcastle. Tickets from www.ticketmaster.co.uk or from Voucher. And did you get a book voucher for Christmas? Then why not buy The Entertainers, 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy by Will Scott. Priced $18.99, Also available from newcastlelegends.com. Okay, welcome back to the Fans Forum on NUFC Matters this Monday night. Look ahead to the Arsenal match tomorrow. It is the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, which takes place at the Emirates at 8 o'clock kickoff. 6,000 away tickets now all been sold. War Flags are asking anybody going to the game tomorrow night to take a black and white scarf to form an impromptu away end display. The second leg of this competition semi-final game takes place on Wednesday, the 5th of February at St James's Park. Speaking to the media today, Eddie Howe was confident that Sven Botman and Anthony Gordon would both be available for tomorrow night's game. The pair were, of course, in a little bit of discomfort at Spurs, but the cut was what was bothering Anthony Gordon on his nose. He's okay, and Sven Botman got a bit of cramp after his first appearance in the first team after coming back from injury. No Fabian Schär for tomorrow night or Bruno Guimaraes. Both miss out as they are serving their one-match bans in this competition. Nick Pope, Callum Wilson, Jamal Lascelles and Emil Kraft all remain out. And as for Arsenal, they go into this game after a 1-1 draw at Brighton in the Premier League. Arsenal have gone unbeaten now in 13 games in all competitions. Saka is missing, and he will also miss the other leg of the semi-final. He has undergone surgery on a hamstring problem. How did Arsenal get to this semi-final? They beat Bolton at home 5-1, Preston North End away 3-0, and narrowly scraped past Crystal Palace in the quarter-final. What a game that was, by 3-2. Who's the referee? Well, it's Craig Pawson. It's his fourth game in charge of a Newcastle fixture this season. He's won one, he's drawn one, and he's lost one. Southampton at home, Everton away, and West Ham at home. The Carabao Cup semi-finals are part of a trial where the outcome of VAR decisions made when the referee views the pitch side monitor will be explained over the stadium PA by the referee. That could be interesting. Any VAR decisions not made pitch side are excluded from the trial and will be announced via the scoreboard, as is the case. So that means we have a VAR official, and that is John Brooks tomorrow night. So if you are going down, as we usually do on the Amigos, we have Scunny Mag with a little heads up as to where to go if you are heading to the Emirates.
Okay, Arsenal. So if you're driving in, your best advice is to park at Cockfosters Park and Ride, get the underground into Finsbury Park and walk from there, which will take you about 10-15 minutes to the stadium, another 5 or 10 to get to the away area, but there's not a lot around the ground unless you park on somebody's driveway. If you are coming in on trains, King's Cross and the tubes link up from there. Closest underground stations to the ground, Arsenal station itself, they have sort of a tidal system there to manage the flow of people. That's on the Piccadilly line, but Finsbury Park and Highbury and Islington are your popular ones on the Victoria line, which most people will use for getting to the stadium. Finsbury Park used to be the popular one because of the pubs with the 12 pins and the Blackstock near there. 12 pins has recently said no more football fans, and I'm not sure about the Blackstock. Very small anyway, and it's packed out with Arsenal fans. So you're probably better staying in the city centre or just heading straight into the ground. There's not a lot around Arsenal at all for anybody, unless you're an Arsenal fan. So this is going to be a short guide, but it's actually only 40-45 minute walk to the stadium from King's Cross, which sounds like a lot, but when you consider Spurs, their nearest tube station, Seven Sisters, again 40 to 45 minute walk from that tube station. So it's on a par with walking to Spurs from the tube, I guess. And you might find some pubs nearer to the city centre than you will to the stadium. And the nearer you get, the worse it'll get for getting in. But anyway, heading up the ground, you want to be on the bridge over the railway line to the southeast corner. United Shade Having will get you to the base of that bridge and head over from there. And your way turnstiles will be sort of in front of you to the right. It's not the best ground. It's okay, it's new, but for a visiting supporter, it offers very little, which is a bit of a shame. And that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Thank you, Scunny Mag. See you tomorrow night. Just the irony in this news that is broken on The Athletic tonight, by the way. There is a group backed by individuals from Saudi Arabia and the United States have signed an exclusivity agreement to buy out Eagle Football and take a 45% stake in the Premier League club Crystal Palace. How are the Crystal Palace fans going to feel after their numerous flags against our Saudi ownership? I wonder. Watching that with popcorn, I think, over the next couple of days. Anyway, let's get to the game tomorrow night. Huge to be back in a semi-final, Darren. 2 legs, of course. If we can win tomorrow night, it's great. If we get a draw, it's not the worst result. If we lose narrowly, we take them back to St James's Park, in which we've got every right to feel confident. But at the moment, coming off the back of 6 straight wins against the likes of Tottenham, Aston Villa, Manchester United, Newcastle's the form team. They should go into this with a lot of confidence, Darren, despite the fact they're missing their captain and their talisman, Bruno.
Yes, it'll be a hard game tomorrow, Steve. I just hope we don't concede in the first 10, 20 minutes. Don't concede. There's also known for a quick start to keep a clean sheet then, and then play how we know we can play. No Bruno not play. I'll play Joe Willock tomorrow. Because he loves playing against Arsenal. Likes to prove a point. Him and Joe Linton. Every time we play Arsenal, they play great against them. It'll be a hard game. I want to win. I would love to win. Don't get us wrong. I just, even if we get beat, I'll take a 1-0 defeat and bring them back to St James's Park, and then we'll turn around at St James's. Even I'll take a draw. But I'm hoping for it. I can't put a 0-0 tomorrow. No goal scores tomorrow for me. I'll go for a 0-0 result tomorrow and bring them back to St James's. But
all right.
That's what I think.
All right, well, I've gone 1-1 with Alexander Isak getting the goal. I think he'll break that record of Shearer and Willock's 7-7. I think he'll get 8. So I think it'll be a 1-1 draw, which I'd settle for. I'd snap your hands off if we got offered that now. But I think you're right. I think the big thing is who starts in midfield. Who does he start? I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go for Lewis Miley tomorrow. I think he might throw in a curveball. Listening to that press conference today, a bit like he did with Botman. I think George and I both agreed that it was potentially what was going to happen was that Botman would start, and a lot of people couldn't see it. Eddie Howe came out today and said that Botman's been fit since Aston Villa, so he's hung back. They didn't rush him in, and they certainly haven't rushed Miley back. So it depends. It depends how Miley's performed in that central midfield role. How has he performed in that role? Who dovetails better with Tonali? It's going to be it's a fascinating decision. It really is a fascinating decision on behalf of Eddie Howe. But you've got for Willock. I'm going to stick my neck out and say he might go for Miley because you can't say he's inexperienced. He's got Premier League games under his belt and might just be something more. That Miley can offer to the game. You can always change it if it doesn't work. I can't see Longstaff coming in. I really can't. I can see Longstaff maybe leaving at some point. Maybe this transfer window, certainly the next one, but be interesting to see. Okay, George, I've talked enough. What about you?
Well, Mr. Optimistic as usual as far as Newcastle concerned. If we go with the same mentality as we've got in these previous 6 games, there's no reason why we shouldn't get a result. And having watched Arsenal against Brighton the other night, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. There's some danger. The young kid that they've brought onto the right wing is a speed merchant. Well, he's going to be up against a speed merchant and Lewis Hall, so we can counteract that straight away.
I think he went off hurt, didn't he? He went off hurt.
Sorry,
didn't he?
Yes,
he went off hurt over the weekend. That 17-year-old. Yes,
and he scored the 2 games he's played. He scored in both. The other thing, the player that always interests me in Arsenal is Odegaard, and he seems to be struggling for fitness at the moment. And if he's not at 100%, then Arsenal's in trouble in my view. And the fact that we will have to shuffle the midfield, well, aren't we lucky to have such an embarrassment of riches, if you like? I'm dying to see young Miley and see how this new monster Miley that they've produced while he's been injured, he's put about 2 stone of muscle on and he looks incredibly fit. I'd like to see him in, but I think Eddie might play safe, and playing safe for Eddie could well be Longstaff. He does what the manager says. He knows what's on the tin. and that's what we might need tomorrow night. Willock's a different one. I love Willock, but for him, it disorganises everything for him and Joe Linton in the same team, I think, because they've got to be on the same side. But I wouldn't be upset if any of them were in, to be honest. As I say, we're lucky to have that embarrassment of riches at the moment, and it wouldn't upset me whichever one was in, and go with the same confidence. And I'm confident enough that we'll come back with a 2-1 victory.
Yeah, this midfield conundrum is that, you see, when I manage teams, even at such a low level that I did, making too many changes affects the balance. And I just think leaving Tonali where he is, it's which midfield player gives you that option of it's a straight replacement. I think if you bring Longstaff in, I like Longstaff. I'm a Longstaff fan. But I think if Longstaff comes in, that means you're moving Tonali further forward. And I don't think that's the thing to do. Tonali's found his place in the team. The player that comes in needs to be a direct replacement for Bruno, and I think I'd like to think that Eddie and his team have learned that, and I think that's what'll happen tomorrow night. And I think Willock's probably more likely. Miley's definitely it's a roll of the dice if you bring Miley in. But what a decision to make. I mean, both players will come in and give 100%. The two of them are good players. Willock has that added bonus, of course, as we've already discussed, of being a former Arsenal player, wanting to go there and do well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But Eddie Howe, he's the man with a job, and he's the man who will know what's best. So fingers crossed he gets it right tomorrow night. Kev, thoughts then on tomorrow and a prediction?
I think it'll be a pragmatic, pretty much a Jose Mourinho style away performance in the Champions League. Sit in, defend, work hard, give nothing to Arsenal, because like George, I watched a bit of Brighton Arsenal yesterday, and it wasn't great to watch, to be perfectly honest. Brighton were more on the front foot. Arsenal, as per normal, just stick 5 or 6 players at the back post and look for a set play and a goal. That's pretty much how they're getting their results at this moment in time, from what I'm seeing and what I come across. Yeah, they're a good football team. Of course they are. But I agree with you, Steve. I think I would put Lou in, I would put Miley in, because I think he's got a bit more legs. I think he's got a bit more forward thinking about him. Not saying Longstaff doesn't have that ability about him, but I think he has that number 10 role with an 8 mix of where he can be dynamic, forward thinking. Yes, Willock's got legs, but you can't have the sentiment of, he's going back to Arsenal and he's going to do well. Well, he's a professional footballer. He should play well anyway. He plays on any given day. But I would go with that, and with the Miley shout, which is not a bad one. Didn't really think about it. I just had a look there when people are thinking, outside of the Champions League, we're the only team to beat them since November. So there's the thing. So they're very difficult to beat no matter who they play. So we've got to go with, in my opinion, a pragmatic approach, not negative, but a professional one, to where we can just grab something from the game, a smash and grab, kick them, head it, kick it, get what we can get from the game and bring them back to St. James's Park. And then that's a completely different ball game altogether on any given day for whoever. It doesn't matter which team it is. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, normally I've been to the Emirates last time I went there back in the day. We got beat 7-3. So for me personally, it wasn't a very happy hunting ground. But I think now with the structure that's in place, the togetherness that's in place, what Eddie Howe's found, he's found that little bit of magic sauce, you could say, of work rate, desire, want, defending the box well, which is a big thing. What happened when we got into the Champions League? Yes, and they were scoring goals. I think we can get. I'll push the board out and sneak a 1-0.
Okay, 1-0. It's all very positive so far. Alan, feelings on this tomorrow, mate?
Well, I'm excited, Steve. Isn't it, lads? That's what we want to be in the semi-finals. These are the games that Eddie Howe will be judged on when the time comes, when he leaves. These are the games where the semi-finals or the final he'll be judged on. This is the time to step up and make, just as well as the team, make him to be elite manager, where so many fans outside the area think Eddie Howe and the people who want him out think he isn't good enough. This is the time to step up. That's why I'll be seeing the changing rooms at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, where we're all nervous, waiting for the game to start. We'll all be nervous. Arsenal are a class act, but so are we now. So are we. So the better the fans who doubt Eddie Howe come across to that idea, the sooner the better. I would love a win. A draw would be fantastic. I just don't want to see we get beat 1-0, because I think Arsenal just park the bus up here at St James's Park. I'd rather we get beat 2-1 to know that we can score against them than get beat 1-0, because I think Arsenal park the bus up here. But I'm going for a 1-1, and I'm hoping for a great occasion, and it'll set it up, because don't forget, lads and lasses in the chat, Arsenal got a horrendous fixture list from now until the second semi-final. So they've got a hell of a lot of games to play, Champions League, FA Cup, and they're going to get injuries just like any team does. So as long as, like Kevin says, we're professional and we get a result, we've got every chance of getting to the final.
700 people watching tonight, 400 people on YouTube. If you're on X tonight, please jump over and hit the YouTube NUFC Matters, hit the subscribe button. Magnus, your feelings about tomorrow night and a prediction?
Well, I am feeling optimistic, however, it's a really strong team. It's one of the best there is. So I am feeling optimistic, but cautiously. You know, this is the first leg. Remember, this is just the first half of a two-legged game. With regards to the midfield, you know, it's been smashing. You know, it's been brilliant, and I have confidence in any of the three options that we have. You know, if it's Lewis Miley, then he's the young gun that can cause damage, and people don't really know where they got him. And I think man to man, that would be the best substitution. However, Longstaff is probably one of the best off balls, and slightly more defensive. If we want to try to preserve and keep a 0-0 or try to defend well and go on the counter, then I think maybe he's a better option. Then we have only. What was the one left? There's Miley.
Willock.
Well, either way, I am thinking this will be 1-1 draw, and I'll be very satisfied with that, because you know, with Dubravka in the goal, and then we have. I would say I'd want. On the other hand, I'm with Darren a little bit on the Willock side, because he has a history with Arsenal, and you know, Lee Pablo might agree with me. To have a player that used to play in the other team, you always start him, you know, and he's very attacking. He's got a good connection with the back line, and you know, for me, it's Joe Willock should be taking this starting lineup. However, I'll be happy with any of the three options, and for me, it's a 1-1 draw that I'll be very satisfied with, because I think we can beat them at home, and so we have, and we haven't got a bad record against them lately, and it seems to be like the home team always has the upper hand. So if we manage that 1-1 draw, I'd be very happy, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, good stuff, Ian.
With a lot of people on here, I can't remember who. Magnus just said it. I think you might have said it as well, Steve. 1-1, I think it'll be. I think we need to get stuck into them, to be honest. They don't really like getting kits. They never have done, never will do. So, you know, within the laws of shithousery, just make sure that they know that we're there and get into them and annoy them. I would love to see Miley play. Like, I would really love to see him play, but I've got a feeling that we might not see him start tomorrow. But I can understand why. I think it would be the decision I'd make, but I reckon Sean might get the start just to, like I think whoever said before, to preserve, just to, to maybe solid things up a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm dying to do a what 3 words here after the other one I seen in the comments, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to demonetize you, Steve. So we'll just move on.
Okay, Pablo.
I think the premise of any 2-leg tie, unless you're a heavy favourite within that game, is always to keep it tight, keep it steady away. And I think with our 2 main backbone players called Bruno and Shah, I think Eddie will err on the side of caution. I think Longstaff will start the game. I'd love to see Lewis Miley start the game, but I just don't think he would risk maybe his development or reputation or confidence in putting him in a game of that magnitude. I think he may bring him on, but I think for me, he's going to start with Longstaff and Tonali, probably sit him a little bit deeper, and Joe Linton will maybe go forward a touch or be the more attacking one. I think it'll be a tight game. I think anything with a draw on it, no matter what score, is classed as a win in my mind, because when we get back to St James, as you've mentioned, Arsenal have got tough fixtures. They've not exactly been firing on all cylinders themselves, They're not exactly hitting Arsenal form themselves. So I think tomorrow is all about keep it tight, batten down the hatches, see if we can nick something, and see where we go from there. But I think probably to follow suit with all you lads, I'm going to say a draw.
Okay, you're going for a draw. Tom, we're going to come to you for your prediction and your question to Darren.
Well, I think they have the best goalie in the Premier League. I think their 2 center backs are the 2 best combination in the Premier League. So they have a very, very strong central defense that is not going to allow for a lot of goals. So we're going to have to take our chances. No one mentioned about Trips. I think Trips is going to start. I do. I think so. That his away experience. Yeah, experience and nous and leadership at the back, I think, is going to be key. So Livramento has been pushed by Trips. He's played last match, I think, was his best game in black and white shirt. But I think it's always been Eddie's plan to rest him and rest Trips for the last match and have him play this match. So I think it's going to be Trips. In the midfield, I'm not going to break up Longstaff. I'm sorry, Joe Linton, Hall, and Gordon. I'm not breaking up that triangle for anything. So that means Willock doesn't play on my team. He doesn't play very well on the right anyway. He's a left-sided player. So it's really between Miley and Longstaff, and I think that Eddie trusts Sean Longstaff. I do too. So I think it'll be Longstaff. With that said, I think we're more likely to score a goal with Miley. And I think he's got a lot of class back there. But I just think Eddie always goes to his more senior players in these type of matches, and it's going to be Longstaff for that. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it. I would love to pinch a 1-0 win, but I'm not. I'm going to predict a 0-0 score. It's going to be a tough game, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it. So I'm going 0-0.
0-0. And you've got a question by Darren.
Yeah, I have a really important question that everybody put your listening ears on. You need to listen to this. We have to go to the sage. Darren, who gets the first goal tomorrow for NUFC?
That's a 0-0. Not going to say it.
You didn't predict 0-0, Darren, did you?
You didn't predict it.
I did. If you go rewind, I said 0-0.
You did. All right. Okay. So he's
Tom,
0-0.
Tom, we forgot to tell you that Awkward's his middle name, man.
I get that a lot, George.
Okay. Great stuff. Thank you to Tom, to Pablo, to Ian, to Magnus, to Alan, to Kevin, to George, and to Darren.
Lads. Good to see you all, lads.
All the best, guys.
Thanks to everybody in the chat.
Have a good one.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to
Take
everybody
care,
for being part of the show. Everyone's just leaving without us giving us the opportunity to say goodbye. They're all saying bye for us. I am back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock with Talk of the Tune. See you all then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.